What's going on, guys? It's Ben here from BH Aquatics, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at my friend E.T Mellor's fish room. Now, it's a really awesome guppy room. I'm going to get right into it, but before we do, I am going to mention one thing I have not posted in a while. It's been like 3 weeks. My editing software went down. Either way, normally we're going to be posting every week on Sundays and maybe some Thursdays. And if you guys are not subscribed already and you want to see more tours like this, I'm going to be coming out with one each month. So make sure you do so, and let's get right into it. Alrighty, so walking into his fish room, it's pretty much a walk-in closet in his basement. It's pretty cool. He has about 57 tanks. Most of them are 5 gallons and 10 gallons. He does his breeding in his 5 gallons, and he puts the fish on display once they're juvenile in the 10 gallons. He has about 1,000 fish, maybe more, probably 2,000, maybe 3,000 in his fish room. It's really cool. I hope you guys enjoy looking at it. It's all guppies. Every single tank is a guppy, and with an exception of a couple of plecos in each and every tank to do some cleaning. One thing I'm going to mention is that I was talking to him about it, asking him about his experiences. He has literally been breeding only guppies since 1970. That's about 48 years. That is 48 years. Definitely super cool guy. He answered all of my questions, let me pick his brain, a couple things that I need to know. So yeah, it was really cool. One thing that I really can't make this video without mentioning is his heating system. I put a heater in each and every one of my tanks. I don't have a lot of them, but it still wastes the electricity. What he does to save on the electricity bill, and it's only a one-time fee rather than going out and constantly buying heaters, is he'll get a central heating system. And he'll just heat the entire room, which will heat all of his tanks. All of his tanks are set at 70 degrees, and since he only breeds guppies, that's all he really needs. One other thing I forgot to mention, though, is that he actually breeds ram's horn snails. So you'll see ram's horn snails spread out throughout the tanks, along with the plecos and cory cats that he has with them, just to do some cleaning. But he does not breed. He does breed red ram's horn snails, and he breeds brown ram's horn snails. But every time that he breeds them, his actual, the reason why he's actually trying to breed them is to get either albino ram's horn snails or blue ram's horn snails out of the process, which is super cool. You'll see some of those in his breeding tanks. So when you look at some of his fry hang-on boxes, that his breeder boxes and stuff, it's really cool because he has close to 100 fry in each breeder box. He has about 10 or 12 breeder boxes, which is super duper impressive because that's close to 1,000 fish just made up of breeder boxes with tons of tiny fry in each of them. That tells you how many fish is actually in his entire fish room, which is really awesome. For his water change system, he basically has a big 55-gallon sump, I think, or 55-gallon sump system. He has a total of 90 gallons, though, of excess water being held. He has a 40-gallon breeder tank where he holds, that's like his main reservoir, and then he has a 55-gallon reservoir with biomedia running through it in the back. You're going to see a little bit of that later on next to a sink, which, the reason I'm telling you this is because it's a very quick clip, so I'm not going to really go over it while I'm at it. So just looking at all the fish as we go, I mean, really, there's some really gorgeous guppies in here. And I mean, there's some guppies that I've never seen before, guppies that I've fallen in love with, guppies that I think I want to breed sometime down the line that might bring in a decent profit. One thing that we talked about is some of his guppies go for, anywhere from $15 to $55 per trio, which is really high. Obviously not too high for these guppy breeders, which still, it's super cool to know all this different information so that maybe I can become a guppy breeder like him in the future. So right now we're switching over. You're looking right at the 55-gallon reservoir and with the hang-on filter and biomedia that's inside. His white sink, his humidifier, which actually heats the room, and an AL60 air pump that actually pumps air throughout his room to power his sponge filters. Right here, he basically has two upside-down 2-liter bottles where he breeds and gathers the brine shrimp that he feeds all of his fry daily, which is, he said, for the 57 tanks that he owns, feeding fry and the fish with brine shrimp, a cap each, takes about an hour and a half, which is pretty incredible, especially where you're just dipping a cap in, dumping it into the tanks. Doesn't seem like a lot, but with 57 tanks, I can definitely see where the work is. So, looking at this tank here, a cool thing that he was sharing with me was how to know how old your guppies are. You see how the guppies' tails are kind of shredded in the back? If they're like shredded only on like the edge of it, it means that they're kind of like an older adult. And if they're like totally shredded, kind of like the male and the female, the two males that were in the front there, the blue ones, it means that they're really old fish. And normally what he does with his old fish is he puts them into these tanks that you're looking at now, which are basically like his reserve tanks or his sales tanks that he'll then in a couple of weeks take these down to the pet stores or take them to auctions and sell them off. Which, it's a pretty good, interesting way. It's pretty resourceful on his part, and it's definitely a cool system that he has running. Another thing that we talked about was, I don't know if you guys noticed, you probably do, but he has blue, I think it's painter's tape, all over the bottom of it. Obviously, it's quite obvious. You can see it on the bottoms of lots of the tanks. It's actually on the bottoms of all of his tanks. But he told me what they actually stand for. Most people, what I was thinking when I first walked in was that maybe they stood for, when each fry came out, it came out this date, came out with dates of fry. But actually, what they stand for is they stand for the times when he changes his sponge filters so that he knows how many times he's cleaned each one. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.